Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Martin Dreyfus Show. Welcome back to our continued coverage of the Russia and Ukraine crisis. Right now, we are going to take a look in what it is like to be a Ukrainian refugee right now. Not just the stories, not just the numbers, but what the actual physical day-to-day is.
1 million Ukrainians have fled their country since Russia's invasion, according to the UN. The refugees leave behind their homes and their lives, not knowing when or even if they will ever return. Sky News correspondent Jay Sparks made the journey with them and has their stories.
That's a beautiful journey to take. It's a very beautiful story to tell.
No one knows if or when the train will come, but in the city of Dnipro, there are thousands of people keeping watch. Their past and their present has been packed into bags, while their future lies on platform 1. The trains head west to the city of Lviv, which stands as some sort of beacon, but nobody wants to leave their home. How do you feel?
Very bad, very bad.
Why?
I'm very angry
Why?
because Putin.
I shouldn't laugh, but that was a very blunt, good way to put it.
Weighty decisions are made in a moment by those who have no time to think. How do you feel in your heart?
No, so bad. Люди должны бросать свои дома и все, что у них есть, и я не знаю, но это на самом-то деле ужасно, потому что, я хотела жить в мире, и я думала, что у нас все хорошо, а одним днем получается все.
It wasn't in one day, there was a build-up, but I can only imagine everything that you have in your whole life in a suitcase and a bag. Anything that you can carry comfortably to a train and wait and hope to God that train keeps coming, because if it don't keep coming, then you're not going nowhere, and then you're stuck, and then you might get bombed because you can't go home. And yeah, as she said, actually, it is terrible.
It's beginning to slow down now, and there is going to be one almighty crush as people try to get on. This map's not in a good way, but they're going to get him on. Propelled by fear, they battle to board as the train attendants beg them to step back. Bags are hoisted from passenger to passenger, and within a few minutes, the train is full.
Осторожно, не упади. Аня, в тамбуре. Осторожно. Все.
Careful, don't fall, don't come in, he begs.
Ребята, все, стойте.
The majority on this.
I hate to say it, but wouldn't a good mandate be no bags? And I know that's terrible and sad and awful to say, but those suitcases are taking up the room of, almost a whole person's spot. 2 suitcases could probably fit another person, and then, if there's 1,000 people on that train, and they each have 1 suitcase, and then that's 500 more people that can go on that train, and that's probably light of what that train holds. So maybe that's a consideration. Just a thought, maybe to try to make this more efficient.
This train are women and children. Men between 18 and 60 are expected to stay and fight. So those on board made their solitary farewells. Natalia Nekrasa is taking her son to safety. Her husband will stay behind in Dnipro.
Потому что я разрываюсь, я должна увезти ребенка в безопасное место, и в то же время половина души остается с теми, кто остался в Днепропетровске.
I asked her where she was planning to go.
Во Львове у нас некуда ехать, у нас там никого нет, не знаю.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue, and honestly, I'm sure she will highlight civilians in these countries are doing a wonderful job of helping out these refugees because they don't know anybody. They don't have a house. They don't probably have a ton of money to go get a hotel. They don't know when they're going to be able to go back. They might have to start a whole new life in a whole new country for the next 5 years. We have no idea.
Feel shame for leaving their loved ones. Others struggle to make sense of it as the train speeds them away from the front lines.
So we'll just...
Oleg is from the city of Volnovakha.
Мне кажется, Путин просто с ума сошел. Больше мне, другого ничего не могу сказать. Расстреливать города.
And his daughter Sonia is terribly confused.
Я хочу, чтобы этого ничего не было, чтобы это все успокоилось.
Это у нас последний вагон, да?
The train stops in towns and villages as we travel through the night, and on every platform there are people trying to get in.
Of course. I mean, these people are trying to leave. It's already full. I don't even know why it's still stopping on platforms, to be honest with you. Because as it worsens, this gets more dangerous. This is when people's instinct of survival starts to turn on each other. And we gotta hope that these people stay unified and work it out, because at a certain point, you start hearing bombs, and this might be the last train. Things get even more scary, even more dangerous in Ukraine.
What are they doing? They can't get on, says one. The conductor refuses to open the doors. Irina and her son have been traveling for days after her hometown was attacked by the Russians. She says she'll never be the same.
How can you be the same? You're not even the same of a soldier who agrees to go to war, let alone a citizen who's just there.
И ненависть, и какое-то опустошение внутри. Вообще все переменилось внутри.
They arrived in Lviv to the sound of air raid sirens, a reminder of everything they left behind. So the majority will continue this journey, moving west into the arms of the European Union. A great exodus of reluctant travelers wondering if they'll ever make it home.
Sky News Corp.
So now they have to go stand in a whole nother line, hope to get out of Lviv and get to Poland or get somewhere. So that's the start of the day in the life of a Ukrainian refugee, and it's scary and heartbreaking, because the more dangerous your city is and the farther east you are, the further across Ukraine you have to go. And although it might get less brutal, it's still war times, it's still brutal, so you still have to keep going west, and there's more and more and more people every stop you get to, and there's already over 1 million refugees, and I'm sure at least another 1 million trying to get out of there. So the numbers were doubling every day. I mean, 300,000, or it was like 150, then 300, then 500, then 800. Now we're over 1 million refugees. It's been like 5 days that I've tracked these numbers. So it's going to be interesting to see how that number continues to progress, and if there will ever be really a leveling of how many refugees there are. I would think there's also a drastic increase with the humanitarian corridors too, but that's also still to be determined.